Barry Gordy got his head stuck so far up Diana Ross' ass that he cannot see what's happening. Nigga, the Jacksons are fitting to leave you. None of the Jackson brothers had ever had a private meeting with Barry Gordy. Until now, there had never been a reason for one. It's unlikely that Barry would have consented to meet with Jackie, Marlon, Randy, or Tito. None of them possessed Michael's commercial voice or magical showmanship. I think that's a little unfair to say, because I think they all brung to the group what their individual spark was or is. Because right now, the Jacksons are on tour. I think it's just 3 of them. Which one is it? Of course, it's my Tito. Randy ain't there. But I don't know which ones are still on tour, but they're doing a great job to me. Even though Michael's not there, they're doing a very good job. And I forget which one is singing lead. I think Jackie's the one that's singing lead. So I don't know about that. I think that's kind of unfair. Michael didn't care how his father felt about his decision to meet with Barry. In fact, he didn't discuss it with him. Still angry at Joseph for all he had done to Catherine, not to mention the abuse he had heaped upon his sons. Michael made up his own mind. Michael did not tell his brothers of his plans to meet with Barry, since he felt certain that they would try to talk him out of it. The Jacksons prided themselves on 1 vote each, even though Joseph's vote usually trumped everyone else's. Michael and Barry arranged to meet at the Gordy estate in Bel Air on May 14th, 1975. Michael would later recall that he complained to Barry about the fact that Motown would not allow the brothers to write or produce their own music or control publishing rights. He was unhappy because he hadn't been allowed to contribute to the Jackson 5's most recent album, Dancing Machine, despite the fact that he thought he had some strong songs he could have added to the package. If he could have had just 1 song on the album, Michael said, it would have shown that Gordy had confidence in him as a songwriter. Barry remained calm. I've been hearing this from my artist for years, he said. However, we can work it out, Michael. Look, I worked it out with Stevie and I worked it out with Marvin, didn't I? No, you ain't working out with them. You ain't working out with them. Them ninjas threatened him. Marvin Gaye said, Taco Meat Marvin said, Barry Gordy, if you don't let me do what I want to do on this What's Going On album, baby, I'll never sing another note for you ever again. You hear me, Barry Bug Bites? All right. Touche, Marvy Pooh. Touche. Them people wasn't playing with him. In Michael's eyes, Barry Gordy was a hero. He respected him and admired the tenacity with which he had transformed the Jackson 5 of Gary, Indiana, from local homeboys to international superstars. He thought of Barry as one of the smartest men he had ever known and was amazed by the way he had made Motown such an international success story. To hear him now say that the Jackson family was being unfair to him after he had brought the group to Los Angeles, made arrangements for their living conditions, paid for their educations, and made them stars was difficult for Michael. What? Barry Gordy, kiss my ass. No, you loaned us that money. It's crazy to me to hear how arrogant he is. I did all this and all that for you. I introduced you to the world, paid for your education, fixed your teeth, got your afros in shape, put you on stage, and spent all my money up. And now you mud hunchies is ungrateful? First of all, you loaned them the money. Because believe me, you done got all your money back tenfold. What makes you think you can write or produce your own hit? Barry asked Michael. I just know it, was Michael's quick answer. He was right. Barry looked at him skeptically. I don't know that that's good enough. What? Nigga, Michael Jackson did Thriller. Thriller! Barry looked at him skeptically. I don't know that that's good enough. Well, what made you think you could build Motown into what it is today? Barry didn't answer. You just knew it, right? Michael challenged. Barry flashed a tolerant grin. He nodded at me as if to say, you're going places, kid. Michael recalled. It ended with Barry emphasizing that he thought of himself as a father figure to Michael, yet also stressing that it was important for the teenager to honor his natural father. Barry Gordy full of shit. He full of so much shiz I can just scream in his face. Yeah. In his own complicated way, Michael was able to cut through some of the rhetoric that had lately been so prevalent in the communication between Barry and the Jackson family. He was able to extract from Barry a promise that he would not do anything to hurt the family, which was quite a statement for him to make and seemed genuine. Okay, so at this point, to me, it's not about if Barry Gordy would hurt the family. It's about how Barry Gordy can help the family. Barry Gordy got his head stuck so far up Diana Ross' ass that he cannot see what's happening. Nigga, the Jacksons are fitting to leave you. And that's what they say. You know, ultimately, every book is Barry Gordy was not physically or mentally present when the Jacksons made this decision to leave Motown. Okay? And that's on him. Joseph had heard from an associate at Motown that Michael had seen Barry in private. Imagine his fury. When Michael got back to Encino, he was pacing in the living room like a caged animal waiting for dinner. Michael would not discuss with me the details of the arguments that ensued between him and his father, but it isn't difficult to imagine that Joseph made it clear that in his view, Michael was out of his league and trying to negotiate with someone like Barry Gordy. I don't give a frick if they sent the closer. I don't give a frick if they sent Olivia Pope down there to talk to the Barry Gordy. Barry Gordy ain't giving no right now about nothing but Diana Ross and how much money she can make for him in the film world. That's it. That's motherfucking all. Michael had no right to meet with Barry, Jackie said years later. It was unfair of him to go behind our backs. We were all mad at him. And really, what did he accomplish? Perhaps Michael didn't accomplish much in terms of the Jackson 5's future at Motown, but his meeting with Barry was an important personal milestone. I get it. I'm not mad at the Michael Jackson. Even though Joseph, like an enraged bull in the house, mad, but I mean, he'll get over it. Like he got over every goddamn thing else. He had obtained Barry's attention, which was something even his father, as well as his brothers, with the exemption of Jermaine, had not been able to do. That night after Michael's meeting with Barry, Joseph called a group meeting in the living room of their Encino home. All of the brothers were expected to appear except for Randy and Jermaine. Young Randy had no say in any group matters at this time. Jermaine was on holiday with Hazel, but he probably would have been excluded anyway, since the family felt he had lost his objectivity about Motown. Jermaine later said, because of me getting married to Hazel, they thought they couldn't trust me, so they kept me in the dark. Jackie, Tito, Marlon, Michael, and Joseph voted unanimously to leave Motown. Michael was ambivalent. But he knew it wasn't smart to be the one dissenting vote. What good would it do him anyway? I just wanted to be done fairly, and something about this doesn't seem fair to me, Michael said. Barry made us stars. Don't forget that. Look, Barry's fine, but it's over, one of the brothers said. It's time for us to be making the big bucks. I agree, said another one. It's time to go. We're dying at Motown. He said he wouldn't hurt us, Michael said, trying to stick up for Barry. Yeah, right, Joseph said sarcastically. Look, it's settled, he concluded. But what about Jermaine? Michael wanted to know. I'll take care of Jermaine, Joseph said. What do I always tell you kids? There are winners in this life and losers, Michael said, parroting his father's credo. And none of my kids are ever going to be losers. Joseph smiled. If we stay at Motown, he concluded, we lose. And we're not losing. Joseph was interested in the CBS Records Group, at which most of the black acts were contracted to the Epic subsidiary. CBS was renowned for its excellent record distribution and promotion network. They make Motown look sick, is how Joseph put it. Ron Alexenberg, president of Epic and ironically enough, a former protege of Motown's Ewart Abner, was interested in signing the Jackson 5. Joseph respected Alexenberg. Under his guidance, Epic had increased its annual billing from less than $10 million to over $100 million. A competitive leader with the finger on the pulse of the record industry, he suspected that Barry Gordy had tapped only a small percentage of the Jacksons' fullest potential. He wanted to find out what else was there. Ron Alexenberg told Walter Yetnikoff, president of CBS Records, that he wanted to sign the Jackson 5 immediately. Walter was skeptical. They haven't been hot in a long time, he said, and now look at them. They're into this Vegas thing. Trust me, Ron told him, according to his memory, this group isn't finished. It hasn't even begun yet. After quick and easy negotiations, an agreement was struck, one that Joseph called a sweet deal. Michael was amazed by the contract CBS had offered the family. He had no idea that the group was worth so much, and this was what the kind of contract other superstar acts were accustomed to in the record business. He had to admire his father's tenacity. Unanimously, the family agreed that Joseph Jackson did make moves for the family, in regards to putting them in positions to grow. But the family also unanimously agreed that Joseph could only get you to a certain point. After that point, even though he tried, his efforts were trash. I had to admit it, Michael later noted. This was one incredible record deal. My father did an amazing job for us. The CBS contracts were drawn up in a couple of days. Each of the four brothers eagerly signed them. The problem then became how to break the news to Jermaine and convince him to sign the deal. Jermaine's father-in-law, Barry Gordy, was now considered to be the enemy, but Joseph realized that Barry had a powerful influence over his son. Come to the house tonight, he told Jermaine on the telephone. Come alone. Don't bring that wife of yours. Well, that wife was your friend before, remember? When you thought that hunching on the boss's daughter was going to get the Jackson 5 far, that was your best friend. Now that you didn't realize Jermaine ain't putting that work in on Hazel like you thought, now you refer to Hazel as that wife. She ain't of an asset to you anymore. He's a master. That's when I knew something was wrong, Jermaine recalled years later. Hazel is a very strong person and asks a lot of questions. I'm sure my father thought he could get me to do anything if Hazel wasn't there. I was afraid to go, afraid of what I'd find. When Jermaine arrived at the Encino estate, Joseph escorted him into the bedroom and closed the door. Sign it. No, Joseph, Jermaine said. I'm not signing. You signed this damn contract, Jermaine. I ain't signing. Think about the money, Joseph shouted at him. Real money. You think Motown's gonna come close to this deal? Look at the money. He flipped through the papers trying to find the clause that outlined terms. I don't care, Jermaine said. It's not about money for me. You don't care? You're crazy. That's what you are, Joseph said angrily. By now, he was shaking his fists at his son. You signed this goddamn contract, Jermaine, or you'll be sorry. CBS says the Jackson 5 will be the next Beatles. And you know that's what we've been working for. Hell no, I don't want to be no Beatle, Jermaine said. I'm not signing it. Joseph, forget it. With that, as Jermaine recalled it to me in an interview years later, he ran from the bedroom and out of the house. He told me he knew he had to tell Barry what had happened. What? Girl.